call you back.
Alright, stream is up.
All right.
Okay. So, how well can you read the code in this game? Okay, that's good, that's good. So, from what I can tell, like, this is the main universal thing that you're gonna have with every script you make. This is params, stands for parameters, and what the parameters are is, open up, there we go. This would be, so you do command name, right? And then if you do space, whatever you put there would be parameter 1. If you do another space, whatever you put there would be parameter 2. Do another space, whatever you put there would be parameter 3, etc., etc. So, off rip, what this is saying is, hey, if the person gave more than one parameter or no parameters at all, right? Or the parameter they put in, the first one, is equal to -h or --help, then it's gonna exit with the command info for nmap usage, which if you're making your own script, you wouldn't really have this. You would instead do a custom message. And then exit. And then once, can't hear you too well. Okay. Man, I've got more viewers streaming this game than I have any other game. What the hell? Guys, please no hack. I'm just trying to teach friend.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm on the stream.
But might want to mute the stream so you don't hear yourself.
Yeah, it's right there.
I'm waiting for you to bring it back here. How's your knee feeling?
Feeling alright. It's hurt a bit here.
Grasping? Do you want me to go to this photo day to get more?
Maybe.
Yeah, last time Friday. It's been a week. It's not bad for last day.
Not at all.
Still got flowers.
And I got the special bud. The special bud, apparently. The special bud, apparently. I would have to agree. Like when I was watching you, I could like your voice was very, very quiet, so I didn't hear much of what you said.
Roger. So mainly what I was saying is like this is pretty much the only universal thing that I know of. So
Okay.
every script you make, this is always going to mean the same thing. And what that is after you type the name of the command, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you do, there's the command name. If you do space, this first one is param1. If you do another space and do another one, that's param2, 3,
Okay.
4, etc.
Okay.
So what this first line is saying is that, hey, if they put nothing as parameter or more than one thing as parameter, or the thing that they put as the parameter is equal to -h or --help, then exit, and then it's just pulling like this is just saying here's how you normally use this command. If you are making your own script, you're not gonna have a pre-built command info made, so you would just do a custom error here, and then like that would be where you kind of describe how the hell to use your damn shit.
Okay.
And then let's just undo that. After that, right? So now we've confirmed, hey, they've put in one thing and they're not asking for help. Is what they put in a valid IP? If not, exit and say, hey, it's not a valid IP. If the okay, so get shell is going to quite literally get one of these. This is a shell. Okay.
Okay.
So okay, well if we're being really technical, the shell is the $sign. If we're being super technical. But so when you get shell, it's gonna get a shell. After that, it's going to see what computer your shell is active on. So if you've if you're remoted in onto someone else's computer, this would be their computer. If you're running this off of your computer, this would be your computer.
Okay.
And then, so it checks the shell, checks the host computer from the shell, and then from that host computer, it's checking, is the network active? Do they have internet? If they do not have internet, it exits, because you need internet. So these right here, these first 3 lines, this is pretty much just your general setup, you know, making sure everything got entered in correctly and that they have the capabilities to do whatever the script is going to do.
Okay.
Because you don't want to try, like, you don't want to start already doing the script just to find out, hey, I don't have internet to actually do anything when you're at a command that kind of requires internet.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense.
Yep. And then from that, now we're doing actual normal setup. So we know that the parameter that they put in is going to be an IP address. So we name the variable IP address. And are you familiar with arrays?
No.
Okay. So you know how if you were calling the command, you could have literally as many of these put in here as you want, right?
Yeah.
And how all of those is called by just this. So if you want a specific one of the parameters, right? Say you want the very first one that they put in, you would do params, and then in little square brackets, you put the position of whatever you're trying to grab.
Okay.
So arrays start as 0. 0 is the first position in an array.
Okay.
That is also an argument, depending on what language you work in. But in this game, arrays start as 0.
Okay.
And then, so what this is saying here, right, is that, hey, grab the first parameter that they put in, and that is going to be what's equal to the IP address. So in this, if I were to run nmap like this, IP address would be equal to P1. If I were to bump that up by a 1, IP address would be equal to P2. And then if I were to do 2, it would be P3. If I tried to do 8, it would freak the hell out because there are not 8 things in there. But yeah, so we're saying, all right, so the one parameter that they're allowed to put in, it's going to be an IP address. So we make that an IP address. And then they're, since nmap is supposed to be used, whether it's public or local IPs, you then check if the IP itself is a local area IP or if it's like a public IP. Because there is a difference.
Yeah.
And then depending on the answer to this, it kind of changes the way the rest of the script works. So if it is a local IP, the router is just your router. If it isn't a local IP, the router is the router of the public IP. So this one would specifically get the router I am currently connected to. This one would get the router of whatever the hell IP address gets put here.
It is.
You rolled already?
Bro's in the bathroom. Didn't know. I didn't know.
And the one leaking has lasted me 4 days. In my bathroom.
Still there?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. So that was 13 lines of code. Do you understand these 13 lines of code at least?
Well, I'm like zooming in. Yes. That all actually makes sense.
That's good, that's good. Alright. Now, can you tell me what this line does?
Unhighlight it. The colors are fucking with me.
Bro, just don't be colorblind, easy.
See, you just not error code for no IP address. Well, not found.
Kinda. So, what this is doing, right, is it's checking the previous if statement. So right here, we're getting the router, right? And then right here, we're making sure that the router was able to, like, it successfully got the router. If it didn't, then exit. That honestly shouldn't even say IP address. That should be route not found, because didn't find the fucking route or router. But yeah, so it's checking this, making sure that that successfully got something before continuing. This is just setting up a variable for the future because it gets used down here. Let's see. And when you're looking through code, if you do come across something that you're not quite sure what it is, like I'm kind of curious what this returns right here, you can go to the manual, and if you look up used ports, you'll find what it does. It returns an array of ports that are being used in this router. And if I do device ports, takes a LAN IP address and returns Okay, so that's why that's getting used. I was curious because it was the exact opposite construction of this if when we were checking this LAN. So for this one, when it was LAN, it was just that. But then when it was public, it got the IP address. For this one, it's the complete other way around. If it is LAN, it uses the basic one. Or sorry, if it's not LAN, it uses the basic one. If it is LAN, it uses the fancy one and feeds the IP address.
Okay.
The manual is going to be like your best friend in this game because you can learn pretty much about anything in the game just by doing it. And then, so that's just getting the ports that are available for the router. And then if it didn't find any ports, it just freaks out again. Ports not found. I'm curious. So if I go back to one of these, what does it return? Okay, and what does this one return? A list. If used from outside, it will return null. I don't even know why we need this line. Not gonna lie. Like, I have a pretty strong feeling this line is not needed.
Very possible.
Because what this is checking is, hey, is the type of this a string? If so, exit and then print the string. But looking at the only two things that are setting it, used ports and device ports, neither of those return a string. One returns a list, one returns an array, which means this would never trigger.
Okay.
I'm gonna just get rid of that line. We don't need that line. That line's a piece of shit. Let's see. You've got this, and I mean, this is literally just setting the, I can cancel those acts now. But if I were to nmap, not that, nmap like this maybe? I don't even know what fucking IP that was. Oy. Do I have an nmap going? Oh, of course I don't. If config nmap 178 188 187 121. Fuck. I keep forgetting my network won't show anything on nmap now. NS lookup for that gives me this IP, nmap So when we're looking at the info, this right here is literally just this. So you're just making the order of, hey, this is the text I want to show at the top of the table. Afterwards, this should show up before these, technically. No, never mind. I'm incorrect. This is setting the string to the variable. Variable gets called at the very end. So then it prints starting nmap v1 point, I'm gonna call it 2 because I'm changing it up. At this date, frankly, don't need any of that info. And don't need that either because that's just flavor. If the ports length is equal to 0, scan finish, no open ports, good. So now, for every port that it found in here, it's and this is where it gets a little more complicated. I mean, okay, how well can you read this for loop right here? Read this. Or hell, do you even know what a for loop is?
No. I'm looking at it and like, what the fuck? I've never loop.
Okay. So, to explain a for loop better, do you feel like you understand arrays now? Like, kind of what an array is?
Kinda.
Okay. It's kind of like a list of things that are all similar, kind of, right? It's like this general idea behind an array. So for loops, let's see. So if I had an array right here, right, of numbers 1 through 6. This is what an array looks like, or written out, by the way. It's just object 1, and then a comma to separate it, object 2, comma to separate it, object 3, comma to separate it. So yeah. So let's see. I'll call that data list. So if you're running a for loop and you wanted to just print each object that's in this array one time, right? You would do for, and then you create a new variable, right? So the idea is that the for loop is going to individually go through every single one of these. So this is called data list. One of these would be one data. So for data in data list. So for each data, one of these little hoes in the whole list, and then you do something. So in here, you could just quite literally print data list for something like this, we technically need one more variable. So you would have a variable called I, set it to 0, and then you would print I from the array. And then right under that, you would do I equals I plus 1. So what this is going to do is for every data in the data list, right? So data 1, data 2, data 3, data 4, it's going to print from the data list a specific position. It'll start at 0, so it'll start with printing 1, and then I gets increased by 1, so it becomes 1, goes back through the loop, and then it would print 2. He left. No, I don't need that either. That's why. Just no survey. Yeah, okay, okay. I didn't know if you still had me muted or not. Alright, now let me show you what I did when I added some stuff to this. Because we were looking at just the normal source for Nmap, but this is the change I made to make it somewhat better. First off, I added the forwarded column into the titles up here. I want it to show up like right after the state. So I just put forwarded right there. And then after that, in this section, in the for loop, we add a new if, and if ping port, and I figured this out by just looking in the manual. I was curious what ping port did. So returns the object that is behind the number provided if it exists, null otherwise. Or actually, hold on. Yeah, no, my mic is pushed way up already. You shouldn't really be cutting in and out.